Welcome to part two. Before we get into the TNA report, something that I didn't have in part one, drink of the week, some generic Aldi's cola
Oh,
is actually really good. Tastes a little bit like Coke and a little bit not like Coke. So it's time for the debut of a new-ish segment. If you remember, we talked about this in the first part too. The MLW report is where I would report every week on what happened in MLW that week. I don't watch MLW anymore, mainly because of Enzo. So we are switching that to the TNA report, where excuse me, where I come to you with everything that happened on TNA Impact um this upcoming week. This week. So this Thursday's TNA dang, this Thursday's TNA Impact was the first Impact under the TNA branding since TNA ended. So I don't like the hood. I don't know why I keep flipping my hood up. So to start off, we have an X Division showcase match. It was a six-man matchup. It was Kushida, Trey Miguel, Laredo Kid, Mike Bailey, Elio Del Vikingo, and Jake something. All six men. This match was really good. Although not like coming into TNA a couple minutes late, I thought it was a six-man tag to begin with, but then I realized it was not a tag.
yeah.
Just all six men fighting each other. No, this was like fast-paced, high-flying action, including Jake something. He was really good in this match too. And he actually won. He won this match. Jake something gets the win. Um as Kid hits Bailey with a top rope Spanish fly. But as Laredo Kid is getting up, Jake something pulls him in and hits the black hole slam, which he's calling into the void, to get the victory. So Jake something wins this six-man contest. Overall, a really good match, in my opinion. Really good opener for the first TNA Impact. Then we have a interview with Will Ospreay, hyping up the main event, which is Ospreay Alexander 2, which they're just giving that to us for free.
Yeah.
No, he speaks about facing Will Ospreay speaks about facing Will Ospreay. He speaks
Of
about
course.
facing Josh Alexander. Um, then we had a promo by Ash by Elegance, which is Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Now she's going by Ash by Elegance, and she is arriving in TNA. It's a horrible name, so it's not a good
It
name.
is.
We had a backstage promo. They sort of got all the promos and interviews out in like right after the first match. Like most of what happened after, except for one promo, was all wrestling.
Mhm.
But we had a backstage segment with Giselle Shaw, talking about how she won the Ultimate X, and then Gail Kim comes in to congratulate her on winning the Ultimate X, and she sort of says, "Don't like listen to the haters," because she is a transsexual athlete, and a
Yep.
lot of people on Twitter were talking about that, how she won the Knockouts Ultimate X. But she was basically saying, "Don't listen to them. You got this." All that, which I have no problem with it. With Giselle Shaw being in the Knockouts division, she's a really good knockouts. She's a really good
Right.
wrestler, honestly. Um, Now we head into the second match of the night: Zaya Brookside versus Tasha Steelz. This is a pretty good knockouts match, honestly. Zaya Brookside got her debut win because this was also her debut on Impact. She did end up winning this. She had she hit the broken wings double knees followed by a neckbreaker for two. Then she counters Tasha Steelz' cutter into the Brookside bomb for the win.
All
Um,
right.
it was an upset win because I was thinking that Tasha Steelz was going to win, especially since this is Brookside's TNA debut. Steelz is a former Knockouts champion. It's sort of set for Steelz to win. And then Zaya hits the bomb, and she gets the victory. So that was pretty cool, honestly. Then we had a callback to the countdown to Hard to Kill with AJ Francis and Joe Hendry. Turns out I did not see this because I didn't watch the countdown. Joe Hendry made a whole music video based off AJ Francis.
Oh, of course he did.
And it makes fun of like the time where he couldn't get over the top rope. But no, then we cut to a backstage segment where Joe Hendry has the laptop that was smashed over his back, and he's talking bad about AJ Francis. Next up, yes, this is the match that I was talking about. GYV took on Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian.
Ooh.
Yeah. This was a really good match, which I wouldn't have expected anything less. Good match. GYV did get the win here after Kazarian accidentally hit Eric Young. GYV hit their move, which they're now calling Grit Your Teeth, and they get the victory here. But no, it's looking like it's setting up Frankie Kazarian versus Eric Young, which I'm all for.
Same.
Yes, because after the match, Kazarian attacks Young out of nowhere. So now we also have heel Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian turned heel on Young and shouted at him and said, "This was supposed to be my year."
Hmm.
Then we had a segment with the System, which is Moose, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and Alicia Edwards. They're at a restaurant and they're talking about how, oh, the system works, no one can beat the system. And then they talk about Nick Nemeth, but they like Moose says, don't say that name around me. If it comes to it, I will beat him. And speaking of Nick Nemeth, we had a promo from Nick Nemeth, which was a really good first promo from Nick Nemeth. He basically he comes to the ring, talks about his debut, talks about his exchange with Moose, starts talking about like the fans and where he wants to be in the company, and then Steve Macklin comes out.
Yeah.
And the one thing I liked about Steve Macklin's side of this promo, the one thing that I liked the most, because his promo was actually really good, he brought up the speech that Ziggler gave in 2016 on SmackDown with the whole you give and you give and you give, you get nothing in return. He brought that up like against Nick Nemeth, which I thought that was really cool because he said, that's your problem. You always give, you never take what you want. So we are setting up Nick Nemeth versus um, Steve Macklin,
I'm
which,
okay with
yeah, I'm all for that one. Honestly, TNA, even Mark Henry, this is a news story I actually came across today. Mark Henry was saying that there's going to be like a massive shift with TNA now coming in. Like there's going to be a massive battle between WWE, AEW, and TNA, which I no, I do not think TNA can beat WWE. AEW, however,
Yeah,
there's a there's
maybe.
a chance. Jay Vidal versus PCO. This was a squash match.
Sounds all right.
Jay Jay Vidal came out talking crap about Vegas because that's where they are. saying that this is where he got to start. Like he wished that he got to start in any other town. So PCO comes out after Jay Vidal challenges anybody in the back to a match. PCO comes out, hits a choke slam, PCO salt, 1, 2, 3. That's it.
All right.
Oh, another thing about the Gail Kim Giselle Shaw exchange. Gail Kim was also saying that Giselle Shaw should lose the Chantarage. Because she's saying that she won the Ultimate X match without the help of anybody. So we may actually be going towards a Giselle Shaw face turn, which I'm kind of curious to see how that would work.
Very.
um, Next week they announced this for next week. Okada returns to TNA. It's going to be the System, Myers, Eddie, and Moose versus the Motor City Machine Guns and Kazuchika Okada. Holy!
All right. Yes. Just yes.
And they didn't announce it. Okada announced it. Like he actually showed up in the promo and said, "Next week I'm coming back to TNA." Yes.
Let's go.
And then the main event, Alexander Osprey 2. Holy crap. This match was insane.
Yes.
You had near falls on top of near falls. You had a part in the match where they're on the ramp and Alexander was looking for the C4. Osprey got out of it and hit him with a hook kick to the back of the head. And then the ending of the match was awesome too. Um, Osprey was like running towards the ropes, looking for the Os cutter. Alexander catches him and hits him with a C4 spike to end the
Oh,
match.
oh, jeez.
So Alexander wins, but holy crap, this match was awesome. And then at the end, Scott D'Amore came out and cut a promo talking about how TNA's back and how that's like the match that he wanted to see out of them. And overall, this was a great first episode of Impact. Of TNA Impact. This was a great return to form for TNA, and I am very, very excited to see what comes next. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have $1 to spare, it's $1 a month to subscribe to TNA Insiders on YouTube, to join TNA Insiders so you can watch Impact. If you don't have Access TV and you have $1, do it. That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
Do it. It is worth it, I promise. But no, overall, amazing show for TNA. Amazing first show back. Amazing main event. Um, I'd actually probably call it my show of the week, but I think that's also because I didn't really pay attention to the other ones. But we got one show left. So,
We do.
Robby, let's talk SmackDown.
All righty. Here we go. Smackdown last night was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good. Uh, oh no.
Oh no.
Excuse me, Bleacher Report. You're not giving me what I want to see.
Here, while
There we go.
that's working,
Nope.
did you get it?
Yeah. No, it was for January 24th of 2017. That's not
Oh,
right.
that's not it.
That's not
While that's working, I have a question for you. This is not the
okay.
personal wrestling question. This is just a discussion question. Do you think it is fair to say that these past couple of years, I'm talking end of 2022, 2023, whole year, start of 2024, do you think it's fair to say that this is like the peak of the modern era that we've seen?
I'd probably say so, yeah.
Hmm. Like this
Whole lot
is
of
some of the best time to be a wrestling fan, in my opinion.
whole lot of solid pay-per-views, whole lot of, kind of, I guess, behind the scenes stuff going on.
Hmm.
good and bad.
Yeah.
It's just
But I think
all
one of the best things about this compared to other eras is, and some people are going to say that this is a bad thing. When it comes to like backstage stuff and behind the scenes stuff, kayfabe is no longer a huge thing for most people.
right.
So you get to see like those funny backstage moments where people who wouldn't be hanging out on TV are hanging out with each other, or you get to realize that it's not real. The wrestling is
Yeah.
real, but the characters, even if they're rivals, they can be friends. And that's what I like to see. I like to see the wholesome backstage moments. And yes, there have been some backstage moments these past couple of years that were not wholesome.
Yeah.
Most of them revolving around CM Punk for some reason.
Yeah. For some reason.
But no, I think like I'm not gonna say destruction of kayfabe, but like the slow falling off of kayfabe has actually helped the wrestling environment. But no, overall, product wise as well, this to me, and this is my opinion, is like oh wait over again.
Yeah.
Like 2008 WWE or like peak Attitude Era. Um, this is like peak modern era right here. Were you able to get SmackDown?
It was showing the SmackDown from the day after Crown Jewel for some reason. So give
What
me
the
1 second. I don't know why.
Bleacher Report? What are you doing?
Oh, here we go. I had to go into the app and find it, but I guess because I haven't been on Bleacher Report for so long, it didn't update. But I got it now.
Okay.
I got it now. We good. I'm a Bleacher Report. You really gonna make me do some freaking research? No, thank you. We ain't got time for that. Anyways, uh, we open the show with a contract signing for the Universal title match at Royal Rumble, which is between Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight.
Mhm.
Everybody but Roman comes out to sign the contract. Paul Heyman comes out instead of Roman, says that Roman is not going to sign the contract because he doesn't feel this match is necessary. Nobody earned it, usual Roman
Yeah.
stuff. So Nick Aldis, being the absolute goat that he is, says that, okay, that's fine. We'll just do a triple threat match for the vacant Universal title. So, of course, Paul Heyman is not okay with that. And I guess he comes back to attempt to sign the contract. And then, of course, in true contract signing fashion, everything falls apart. AJ and LA Knight start brawling, which sets up a match for later. And Randy threatens to RKO Paul,
He
and
should have
that
done.
should have done it. And that's how the segment is, pretty much.
In the words of Dean Ambrose, I call dibs on the table.
I call dibs on the table. We all know how this one's gonna end. LWO versus Santos Escobar, Angel, and Humberto.
Why?
The new Legado, we're just gonna call him, got
Oh
the
yeah.
win. Uh,
Is it
this match
bad
was
that I already forgot that was a thing?
right, not surprising. Pretty good match. They did finally set up a match between Escobar and Carlito, which should have happened at Survivor Series, but it did not for whatever reason. But it's finally gonna happen next week, so that should be interesting. Next match, and this one I was really happy about. Pretty Deadly versus Tyler Bate and Butch. But wait, he's not Butch
He's beat
because
that.
he's Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne has finally returned, music and everything, and it has been a freaking long time coming. Like we're talking
I was in a
over,
Discord. One of my friends tried to correct someone when they said Pete Dunne. Tried to correct him and say Butch. No, no.
no, it's Pete Dunne now. And the pop he got when his when his name came up on the screen and the music, it was massive. So thank freaking God, Pete Dunne is back, and he's got the edgy emo character and everything, and shrugging it's fantastic. We love Pete Dunne. Butch, who's that? Never heard of him. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate obviously got the win with the bitter end, and this was a really good match.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pretty
you're
deadly
very
didn't
happy
win.
about that, yes, sir. This match got an A from Bleacher Reports. It was a good match,
Should
and
have been an A
hopefully,
plus because Pretty Deadly didn't.
all right. Hopefully, this means we get to see Pete Dunne actually succeed on the main roster now. Maybe win a title or 2 or 3 or 7. I don't know if he's gonna. It is kind of funny though, because last week he was saying that he doesn't want to tag. He just wants to kind of do his own thing. And then literally the very next week he's in a tag match. But I don't know if they're going to continue with that or not.
I want to do my own thing. Nick Aldis said, "I put you in a tag match."
I uh we got a little, I guess, kind of pre-recorded promo segment, video package thing between Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross, AOP, Paul Ellering, and Scarlett, which is, I guess, what they're calling themselves, which is a pretty freaking
name is hard
name.
right there. That's what
It goes hard. So I guess Lashley.
I sounded so white saying that.
Gosh, I wonder why. Anyways. Oh Lord. What is this going to? What is happening?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you don't have a script.
Exactly. Anyways. Oh, and if even though they weren't called this week, apparently Lashley and the Street Profits, I guess stable you can call it, is apparently going to be called the Pride, but they've never been officially called that on TV yet, just on social media. But they're calling themselves the Pride, which is not as cool as the Final Testament.
Just call them the Hurt Profits. What do you mean?
Right? I mean, it was right there. The street business, the Hurt Profits,
Also, give
so
them
many
new
cool.
themes.
Yeah. And maybe, act like heels. That'd be a good start.
Right.
They're not. I can't tell what they are anymore. I really can't. We have the Kevin Owens show with Logan Paul. They have a verbal back and forth between each other, basically saying that the rivalry started between Paul and Owens at WrestleMania 37, where Owens gave Logan Paul a stunner.
Forgot about
And
that.
Logan Paul is going to get his vengeance and defeat Kevin Owens. And he wants Kevin Owens' cast on his right arm to be banned because it's a weapon. And then he proceeds to punch Kevin Owens in the face.
With his surgically repaired hand, by the
way. With his hand full of nails, and smacks Owens' hand against the ring post, and that's how the segment ends, with Logan Paul standing tall over Kevin Owens. What a wild thing to say.
Yes, his cast should be banned, but my handful of nails is fine.
Although I will be completely honest, Logan Paul just seems to be actually good at everything he does. I'm gonna be honest. He's pretty good in the ring, and he's not too bad on the microphone.
It's true, but shut up.
Man just can't admit the facts.
It's true, but shut your mouth.
He's actually good at his job. Crazy. Women's tag team title match. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus the Unholy Union, which is Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. First of all, I didn't even realize this was a women's tag title match until the referee held up the women's tag titles. All right, so women's tag title match. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter retain. with a maneuver
Hmm.
that I can't remember. Oh, it was I think it was like a senton off Ken Carter's shoulders from Katana Chance,
Oh, I've seen that.
I believe. I'm not
It'd
gonna lie,
be it, say what you're
uh,
gonna say.
I was gonna say I actually thought Alba and Isla were gonna win. I was dead set on thinking Alba and Isla were gonna win this match, but they did not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that move would be more effective if either of them were taller.
Yeah, yeah. Then after the match, uh, Kairi Sane and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, confronted the women's tag champions. So I would have to guess if I was a betting man, knowing what I know now with WWE and how it works, that means we're getting a women's tag title match between the Kabuki Warriors and Kaden and Katana eventually.
It'd be kind of cool if it was on Rumble, because not only would that be the first time the women's tag titles are defended at Rumble?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it'll be the first time that Caden and Car and Katana are on Rumble.
That
So,
yeah, and it is pretty cool that Triple H is actually trying to make the women's tag division relevant,
hmm
actually putting the titles on TV and having not bad matches. Unlike Vince, who just completely forgot the titles existed.
yeah, he Triple H is trying to get rid of the curse, basically.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Carmelo Hayes is having an interview with Kathy Kelly when Theory.
Continue.
Or anyway, uh, Mello is having an interview with Kathy Kelly, gets interrupted by Theory and Waller, and eventually this sets up a rematch between the two, Theory and Mello, that is,
Mhm.
next week. And I do find it kind of stupid that Theory was accusing Mello of nearly ending his career the week before. Spoiler: uh, Theory and Mello had a match the week before last
Mhm.
week, and Mello was sitting on the top rope, and Theory ran up and hit a Spanish fly, and it just did not land properly at all. They basically landed on their heads, is what I'm trying to say. They
Yeah.
under rotated, and the match had to be stopped. The match had to be called off, and Theory accused Mello of nearly ending his career when Theory was the one that hit the move that ended the match. Where is the logic in that? I don't understand. So I thought that was kind of silly, but and Mello didn't even try to defend himself. Like, come on. Uh, anyways, next match, AJ Styles versus LA Knight. This ended in a no contest because Solo came out and attacked both Knight and Styles.
Sounds about right for a Roman feud.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess after Solo took both of them off, he said, "Two down, one to go. Randy Orton, get your booty out here." And that eventually led into Randy Orton versus Solo Sikoa. And uh, Randy Orton got the win with the RKO. And I guess during the match, Styles and Knight came out to attack Jimmy Uso, who was trying to interfere in the match. And
Hmm.
then after the match, Randy Orton delivered an RKO to everybody. And then Roman came out and hit a Superman punch onto Randy. And then when Roman was about to hit the spear, Randy caught him with an RKO, which looked really cool. And Randy
Yeah.
Orton stands tall at the end of the show. So that kind of B from this report, by the way.
Sounds
So
about right.
overall, this SmackDown was not that bad. It got also a B plus from Bleacher Report, same as Raw.
Yeah.
So not a bad week, if I do say so myself.
Pretty good week for wrestling. Um, Start of 2024. A few weeks in at this point,
Yeah,
wrestling's still going strong.
thank God.
I told Robby before we started I'm kind of scared for Rumble because
Right.
noticing the pattern 2021's was really good. 2022 sucked. 2023 was really good. Now I'm scared.
See,
Oh,
I have no idea who could possibly return slash debut in either Rumble.
CM Punk.
Apart
No.
from, you know, Trinity in the women's. I don't know who could appear in the men's.
Well, another thing before we head into part two, another little SmackDown thing. Gable Steveson was in a dark match,
What was
and
he?
yeah, he was wearing, I believe it was Atlanta Hawks. It was an Atlanta Hawks jersey. He got booed out of the building
Deserved.
in Atlanta. But no, yeah, he was wearing an Atlanta Hawks jersey in Atlanta, and he still got booed.
Yeah. Why? Who did he? Did he have a match
I,
against someone?
he had a match. I don't know who it was against. Um,
Yeah.
but no, he got booed out of the building. So the Gable Steveson experiment is not working.
It is not. It was kind of doomed from the start, and just simply because he's had some sus things
Yeah,
going on that we're not going to talk about. That, and he's not a very good wrestler.
we are PG-13. We're not that PG-13.
Yeah.
But no, it also boils down to what you just said. He's not that good of a wrestler. He's not that good of an in-ring talent. I think that's the problem that WWE has. They try to say that good collegiate, like actual wrestling, translates into good pro wrestling.
Right.
While
They
there,
kind of tried to make him the next Kurt Angle, and it's not
yeah,
really working.
while there is like great collegiate wrestlers who turned into good slash great pro wrestlers, Angle, Benjamin, Gable, Jordan,
Ziggler.
Ziggler. I didn't know he was a collegiate wrestler.
Yeah, and Brock too.
Brock. They are the exception to the rule. They are not the rule.
Mm,
There are many more collegiate wrestlers who tried to get into wrestling and failed. And the reason you don't hear about them is because they usually don't make it to WWE. They're
yeah,
usually like snuffed out in the indies or on these smaller promotions like TNA, like ROH. They usually are sort of kicked out of the business then. They never make it to the big stage like Gable Steveson has.
mm,
He's made it to WWE, but he hasn't shown that he can make it to WWE. They just brought him in because they knew it would have been a cheap pop because he's an Olympian
yeah, gold medalist.
and a gold medalist. But real wrestling does not translate to WWE most of the time because
Yep,
WWE is more than grapples and takedowns. You got strikes, you have spots, you have bumping. It's not real wrestling.
exactly.
um, so I was skeptical from the start
Mhm.
for Gable Steveson. Um, and his match with Baron Corbin basically told me all I need to know. That he's not he can be the greatest real wrestler there is. He's not a professional wrestler.
Stick to what you're good at.
Exactly. I mean, that's another example of this, but sort of the other way around, a pro wrestler trying to go into real fighting. CM Punk trying to go into MMA and sucking at it.
Yeah,
Which again, there are those guys who went from pro wrestling to MMA. Lesnar, Lashley, Hager. Those are the exception.
exactly.
And I'm gonna end my rant here because we're almost out of time. We're gonna go to
I'm
part
surprised it hasn't
three.
ended yet.
We're gonna go to part three. We still got a minute. We're gonna go to part three, where we will do our personal wrestling question, and Robby will do Robby's rankings of
Mm,
the AEW slash WWE pay-per-views of 2023. In part four,
yep.
we will play Wrestling Trivial Pursuit, where the loser must watch a show that the winner picks. Stay tuned for that because this is going to be the week that I win.
All right.
We will see y'all in part 3.